A family thought they had found the perfect deal. A massive, a century-old home deep in rural Arkansas. But the moment they stepped inside, something felt wrong. The fireplace was boarded shut. On the wood, a pentagram had been spray painted, surrounded by melted candle wax, like someone had once performed a ritual in that very room. And that was only the beginning. Because this house already had a story, and a story the family didn't fully understand yet. Years earlier, a woman who grew up there would later say something chilling. I lived there when I was a kid, and it's haunted. And what she revealed next turned the house from old property into something far more disturbing. A boy had fallen to his death from the upstairs window, right inside what would later become a child's bedroom. And just a short walk behind the house, an old Confederate cemetery sat silently in the trees. No one paid much attention at first, because the house was beautiful, huge porches, tall trees, open land, fireplaces in nearly every room, a dream home for a growing family. Ben and Jamie Shaw believed they had finally found the place where they could build their future. 3 children, a new beginning, a bigger life. But sometimes, history doesn't stay in the past. It waits. Inside walls, inside floors, inside silence. And at first, it was small things. Strange sounds at night. Unsettling knocks on the walls. Doors that moved when no one touched them. Jamie tried to explain it away. Old house, settling wood, wind, imagination. But her children started noticing too. Her youngest son, Bridger, refused to sleep alone. He said he could hear voices in his room. Not one voice, many, all talking over each other, like a crowd trapped inside the walls. Then came something worse. Footsteps on the stairs, but every time the family checked, no one was there. Not the kids, not anyone, just empty hallways and fizz and silence that felt too heavy. And the house seemed to react. Lights stopped working properly. Bulbs burned out again and again. Even battery-powered lamps failed within hours, like something inside the house resisted being seen. At first, they laughed it off. Old wiring, old structure, old building sounds. But doubt doesn't survive long when fear keeps repeating itself. Jamie even met a woman at a grocery store who recognized her. The woman said she had grown up in that same house, and she didn't hesitate. It's haunted, she said. Then she mentioned something no one could ignore. A boy had fallen from the upstairs window, decades ago, right from the same room where Bridger now slept. Still, life continued, until the house started doing something different. It stopped just making noise and started interacting. A baby monitor picked up crying when no baby was there. Objects moved without explanation. A shadow was seen walking behind them while they worked. And then, the moment everything changed. Jamie was sitting with her son when something appeared down on their computer screen behind them. A shape, a movement. Something that didn't belong. Then Bridger walked into the room, and he wasn't acting like himself. He stared at his mother, silent, empty. Then he smiled and began laughing. But it wasn't his laugh. It was wrong, deep, unnatural, continuous. Like something else was using him. The family's fear turned into panic when even their dog reacted violently, barking at empty space, cornering something unseen on the bed. And then, the leash that had been hanging on a hook upstairs appeared on the stairs below. No explanation, no reason, just impossible movement. That was the moment Jamie stopped questioning whether something was wrong and started believing it was real. The house was alive in a way that couldn't be ignored anymore. And then came the investigation. A paranormal research team entered the home, including psychic mediums who immediately felt it. Not one presence, many. One of them described it as a crowd, a sea of voices inside the child's bedroom. The same room where Bridger couldn't sleep. The same room where the boy had allegedly died. Communication was attempted, a spirit board was used, and a name was spelled out. Seer. But when asked if he had ever been alive, the answer came back, hell, never. Then the board began moving violently. Spelling patterns changed. It pointed toward the camera, as if something inside the house was aware it was being watched. And that's when the investigation team caught something on their equipment. A figure forming in real time. Tall, thin, unstable, appearing among disappearing her. Like it couldn't fully exist in this world. After that moment, the energy in the house shifted completely. Cold, heavy, oppressive. Even the investigators admitted they had never felt anything like it. A cleansing ritual was performed using sage. The atmosphere temporarily shifted. But only temporarily. Oh, because the activity didn't leave. It adapted. Knocking returned, voices returned. Sleep disappeared again, and the family slowly reached breaking point. Then tragedy struck outside the house. While driving the children home, Jamie swerved to avoid a road obstruction. The van flipped multiple times. One of the children was thrown from the vehicle, pinned beneath it. Emergency responders rushed to the scene. Miraculously, she survived. But the recovery was long, painful, and life-changing. And the timing felt impossible to ignore. Inside the house, activity had already escalated before the crash. Shadows in windows, figures seen in hallways, objects moving without cause. It felt like something was building toward a breaking point. Still, Jamie refused to blame the house for the accident. But she couldn't ignore the pattern. The house wasn't just noisy, it was active, intelligent in its own disturbing way. Eventually, the family left. Not because they wanted to, but because they couldn't stay. Years later, their story would be turned into a documentary. But Jamie says much of it was changed, exaggerated, reshaped for entertainment. Still, what they experienced remained real to them. Even after leaving, the house's influence didn't fully disappear. Strange incidents followed them. Unexplainable sounds, devices malfunctioning. Moments that brought back the same feeling they had inside those walls. And Jamie came to a simple, unsettling conclusion. It wasn't just a haunted house. It was a place that affected the people inside it. Their sleep, their health, their emotions, their stability, and in the end, it forced them to leave. Not because of fear alone, but because staying any longer would have cost them everything they were trying to protect. And the house still stands, waiting, quiet again, for the next family who thinks they've found the deal of a lifetime.